How's it going, everyone? My name is Jake, and I am back with yet another concept tutorial and demonstration. Delay is the topic of this video, and we are going to walk through some of the process's applications to really help give your mix more depth. As always, if you find these videos helpful, be sure to subscribe to stay on top of any new content. I'm trying my best to come out with at least 3 videos every week. Alright, so all in all, delay is pretty easy to understand. The process works by recording the input signal of an instrument or device, storing that signal, and playing it back after a designated period of time. This creates what most people know as echo. Even though this process is easier to understand than most concepts kind of like compression or reverb, there are many applications and techniques that make this process a very versatile effect. So the first technique I want to talk about and demonstrate is the slapback delay. This is a short delay that is limited to only one repeat, giving it the essence of a simple echo. You may find this technique actually solves a very specific issue pretty consistently. If you have ever mixed vocals on a faster paced song, you may have realized that it is hard to build a room around your vocal using only reverb. The tail just ends up getting lost in the mix due to the faster beat and quick changes. Next time you run into this problem, try using a slapback delay. This works great because the echo effect still helps to give the vocals some width and space, and the repeated signal is simple and highly audible, unlike longer sustained reverbs. Alright, so let's take a look at this application of slapback delay. I'm going to pull up an instance of the repeater here, which is just a rather standard delay. First thing I want to do is make sure that I can adjust the milliseconds. And for slapback delay, I usually want to start around 75 milliseconds to 100, just because we want that one clean instance of repeat. So let's start around 80, because I know the song's a bit slower.
He's so sweet.
Alright, I think I'm going to slow it back a little bit more, because I want to hear that repeat a bit clearer.
He's so sweet.
Awesome, that's better. Now the second thing I want to do is bring down the feedback, because the feedback essentially will just muddy the repeats a little bit, and it's something that I like to use on guitar, but vocals it's just not quite the right application.
He's so sweet.
So that clears it up, and one more thing we can do to clear it up even further is bring back our high frequencies to around 4K. We don't really want too much of that shining through because it can also affect the initial sound. And we're going to bring up our high pass filter because there really isn't anything under 150 hertz anyways.
He's so sweet.
Awesome. So that's a pretty simple way to apply this technique. It's really may not be the best technique to use in this particular song, but in something that has fast repeating vocals, it's pretty effective. So we just talked about slapback delay and why we should consider it, but let's look at the opposite end of the spectrum. When and why would we want to use a nice long sustained delay? Well, it all comes down to the feel of the song. If the song is fast paced, you probably do not want a large delay. However, if the song does have some slow, sustaining parts, then a large delay might just be what you need. Alright, so let's look at the opposite end of the spectrum here. We're going to pull up another instance of our delay, our repeater. Instead of going for a short delay around 75 to 100 milliseconds, this time we want to look at something like 483 because we want those extra repeats. We want it to be drawn out. This is it's better to apply this to songs that have a long sustain and, are a bit slower because you can really benefit from each repeat more. So let's start at 483. How we came to this number is that when you actually click the sync mode button here, what happens is the delay synchronizes to the tempo. And I think the tempo is like 124 in this song. So this is where that number comes from. And during a long delay, it's important to kind of sync them together because each repeat is going to land on a specific note. And it's important to not have it be out of rhythm with each other. So let's hear what we got here.
He's so sweet.
So you can definitely start to hear the multiple repeats. Just with the other one, we're going to bring the feedback down to 0, just because it's not a very helpful thing with vocals, in my opinion.
He's so sweet.
Just clears it up a little bit. And we're also going to bring this down, maybe not as far as the other one, because we still want to preserve some of that high end, but once again, bring this up to around 150. Let's hear what we got.
He's so sweet.
And the final thing is, it differs per model, whatever you're using for your delay unit, but most will have specific settings for the room or the type of delay that you have. So I'm just going to go through and pick one that better fits. So I ended up with using a space delay, and I just really like the way it sounds. It gives it a lot of character. Let's check it out.
He's so sweet.
All right, so the last thing that I want to show you is with these micro delays and how it can really affect your panning. So I've already have it set up here. I have 2 guitars, both on 2 different tracks. And what I want to do is I want to essentially separate these in the spatial field. So instead of actually just going in and panning them, I'm going to leave everything 0 or pan completely left and right for the instance of these 2 auxiliary tracks. So let's bring up our first guitar here. All right, so we want to essentially, let's make this guitar sound like it's coming from the right hand side. And we're going to do, like I said, we're going to do this without any panning. So I already have an instance of the repeater here. So we bring them both. Let's bring both of our delays down to as close to 0 milliseconds as we can. Now, because we want to have it on the right side, we want to give the left side a little bit of delay so that the signal on the right side actually hits our ear first. And that's what's going to make it seem like it's panned a bit to the right side. So we're going to add a delay here of just even 2 milliseconds. Probably can be even shorter, but just to make sure you hear it is that, okay, so now that it's 2 milliseconds delayed on the left, the right will arrive at our ears 2 milliseconds before, giving us the idea that it's panned to the right. So let's see what this sounds like. So it just ends up coming through a bit more on the right side. Let's add this guitar in here and make this one come in a bit more on the left side. So once again, we're adding about 2 milliseconds of delay to the right speaker so that the left side will arrive 2 milliseconds before. And there you go. That's a good way to kind of give instruments more space without having to significantly pan them. Using this method of micro delays is a great alternative to panning and can really benefit the stereo field of your mix in a unique way. I've really enjoyed mixing with this technique, so you should definitely give it a try in your next project. Alright, so this is going to be the end of this video. Hopefully you guys see how delay can substitute for multiple other processors and how versatile it really can be. I've been really enjoying making these videos, so hopefully I'll start working on some less common processors now and kind of do some guides and tutorials on those. Regardless, more videos are coming soon, so until next time everyone, have a good one.